YouTube, good day to you. I wanted to make a quick video. What I have here is a fuse box from a 2011 Chevy Malibu. It is a 2.4 liter, I believe. So one of the symptoms from the Malibu was intermittent throttle issues. So you would turn the car on and it would run just fine for the first 5 or 10 minutes, and once the car warmed up was actually when we would get errors and a check engine light would come on and it would tell us that there's reduced power to the car itself. So there's another video of a Chevy Malibu. I think it's a 3.6. The guy was working on a 3.6 liter Chevy Malibu, and he took out the fuse box and looked at it, and I kind of just followed that lead because we started throwing parts at the Chevy Malibu, so none of them worked. So you could kind of foresee that it was a electrical issue somewhere, and just kind of going on a hunch, we decided to take out the fuse box and kind of look at it. And in the video, it really doesn't show how to take apart this fuse box. It just shows you when he takes it out, but I'm just going to go ahead and kind of show you exactly. Once you take the bottom portion, because there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 plugs, basically the wiring harnesses. Once you take those out, you're pretty much going to be left with this here. These are actually the retaining sleeves. You're going to have to take these out, just kind of punch them out from this side back out, and you're going to have to take these out, and as you can see, they're just little sleeves, and they're not really attached anywhere. They're just kind of like mushroomed in the middle right there, and that's what kind of retains these. And you just need a little bit of force to take these out. There's 4 of them. So once you take those out, this little fuse at the end of the box you also have to take out. It's just kind of clipped in there, and once you take it out, this whole thing becomes loose. And once it becomes loose, it gives you pretty much access to this whole panel. And of course, you can take this out as well. And that's pretty much how you take that apart. Okay. So I looked at all these circuits, and obviously this is where all your fuses and your relays sit, and they would sit in these little slots here. So I looked at this for a good 30 minutes. I actually took out my magnifying glass and light, looked at everything, and I thought everything was okay. Like I couldn't find any breaks in the copper wiring anywhere, until I actually watch the YouTube video of the guy that had a, I think it was a no crank that he had on his Chevy Malibu. I think it was in 2009. There was no crank on it. But what he did was warm up the entire panel here, which I'm going to show you exactly why you need to heat it up, because like I said, I looked at this thing and I thought there was no issues to any of it. And I want you to look at this wire right here. It leads all the way back over here. Okay, so I'm going to get my heat gun, and I want you guys to look at this little area right here. It doesn't look like there's a break in it just yet, but I'll show you what happens after I put a little heat on there. So mind you, the car would be actually barely warming up right now. Kind of warming up. Still warming up. Still warming up, kind of. Okay, now you can see the brake here. See that brake right there in the line right now? Right there. So that barely reached, I think, 200 degrees on the heat gun, and it made the copper wire expand. And so when the car is on an app temperature, it actually breaks that copper wire, and so you kind of lose the circuit, I guess. So after doing some research and all the stuff that happens to the car, there's no throttle, there's reduced power to it. Basically, I'm going to show you now how this sits. This is actually the top of the fuse box, right? So if you remember, the brake is actually on the opposite side of this. So the brake is here. You count the slots. It's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it leads right back to this little fuse here, and it runs back up towards this way. All right. This is the top of the fuse box, just like that. So remember, I flipped it around. So this is the slots 1, 2, 3. There's nothing right here, but we're just counting the slots, and it's 4 over. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's actually leading back to this fuse right here, which I'm going to show you right now. If you look at the fuse box schematic, remember I counted down, 3 over, 4 down. It leads back to the number 2 fuse. And the number 2 fuse here is the electronic throttle control. And then that runs back to a relay back over here, which, doesn't really matter because the line breaks here, so you'll have throttle issues through the ECM, and that would kind of go back to the reduced power, and you would lose. We lost a lot of power actually. So after 5 or 10 minutes, the car would almost seem like it was dying, and you would get the speedometer and the tach doing a bunch of this at about, I'd say, below 1,000 RPMs, and it just seemed like the car was about to die and conk out. But I just wanted to make this really quick video. If you're having some kind of issues, again, this is a 2011 Chevy Malibu. It's a 2.4 liter, I think it was a 2.4 VVT. So what I'm going to do is just kind of solder this back together and hope it kind of works. We actually tried to order this entire fuse box assembly from GM, and GM told us there is actually a back order on the fuse box assembly itself. They actually don't know, and they don't give us a timeline on when exactly the fuse box will be in our hands. So Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps somebody.